Hi, I am Lucille Walker. I am the Executive Director of the Southern Maryland Heritage Area. We're also known the public name, Destination Southern Maryland. And I am here in this lovely spot in Charles County because we have some news to share. We are a state-based heritage area, which is remarkable because Maryland is only one of 3 states in the United States that has a state-based heritage area, so that's great. There are 13 of us in the state of Maryland, and Charles and St. Mary's and Calvert County are part of the Southern Maryland Heritage Area. Our big news is that in order to become a heritage area, usually you have to go national. There were only 55 national heritage areas in the entire United States. And if you do the math with that, you'll know that's not common. So you have 55 national heritage areas. Well, in the recent end-of-year spending in the United States Congress, we were able to be designated the Southern Maryland National Heritage Area, one of some other national heritage areas designated during that legislation. This is really important because, well, you can ask, we're a state-based heritage area. Why go national? It's so important because we are the nation's story. Our story is national. We inform it, and we inform it in so many ways. Quick overview, we are the place for the first time in the entire Western world that religious freedom was ever put into law, ever. Now that is an international human right. That's not just America, ever. It's a big deal. And that was the Act of Toleration in 1649. We were also the first place a person of African descent ever served in the legislature, Matthias de Sousa, 1642. First time a woman ever petitioned for the right to vote, Margaret Brent. So when you look at these basic first, that's amazing. But all freedoms come at a cost. And that cost came to the indigenous people. They were here, and we had freedoms that were established that were amazing. The beginning of the separation of church and state. But they lost their homeland, and in many ways their way of life. But they're still here, and that's an important story we want to tell. They have survived, and they are creating a new legacy. There's a lot more I could talk about why we're national, and one of the reasons I'm here in Charles County is to talk about why Charles County is so important to our National Heritage Area. Not only do you have the National Marine Sanctuary of Mallows Bay, Potomac River, which is a huge deal and is getting a lot of notice. And I did hear recently that you are one of the spots for 2023 for Condé Nast for tourism. That's not a national reason, that's just a plug for Charles County. But I'm sitting here at Port Tobacco, one of the many historic sites within Charles County. The stories of the people is the primary. Buildings are fascinating and interesting, and I love that this is still here. But what does this building hold? What are the stories in this building? We're at a spot where we combine everything I'm just talking about. This was originally an indigenous person's place to be. And then it became a colonial capital, one of the biggest, and until it was silted up and forgotten in time. There are great stories here, including a very suspicious arson story, which we really don't have an answer to, but I someday would like to hear it. But Charles County overall has many stories to tell. African American perspectives are vital, indigenous perspectives are vital. What was the European experience in Charles County? We want to talk about that, we want to elevate it, and we want to make sure as we progress as a national heritage area, people can hear our story, answer the questions, come visit, and enjoy.